Okay, shalom, right. What else did I talked about? That he's very, very wealthy. Where did the wealth come from? I'm not going to go through all this because obviously there's a lot involved in that. If you want to pause it and read it, then do. It's just some background to what I'm saying basically. But he got the treasure. Yosef had 3 pots of treasure hidden in Egypt, and you can't imagine the vast wealth of Yosef. Yosef was vastly wealthy, and he concealed 3 treasures in Egypt. Okay. And it says, Rabbi Ḥama, son of Rabbi Ḥanina, says, Yosef concealed 3 buried treasures in Egypt that he accumulated from the sale of grain during the years of famine. The location of one was revealed to Korah, and the location of one was revealed to Antoninus, son of Asveirus, emperor of Rome. He was an emperor of Rome that was very great friends with Rabbi Yehuda Nissi, Judah the Prince, who wrote the Mishnah, and then the Mishnah, obviously the Gemara and the has come out of the Mishnah, the writings of the Mishnah. So a very, very, very great rabbi, and this is the rabbi that's referred to in the Talmud, and I've done a whole teaching on it where it says, a leper from the house of Rabbi Yehuda Nissi is his name, and we know that when we decode that, it leads us to a revelation that is Yeshua, who is the Mashiach, that's from the house of a leper from the house of Rabbi Yehuda Nissi is his name. So Antoninus was a very great friend of Rabbi Yehuda Nissi. They were very great friends and had a lot of respect for one another. Okay, and he was one that found one of these hidden treasures in Egypt. And it says then, and one remains hidden for the righteous in the future, i.e. in the messianic era. And this is from Talmud, it's from Sanhedrin 110. Okay, so there are some other interpretations as to what these 3 treasures are. Okay, and I think they're worth a mention. One, the first treasure, a destined leader will become a leader no matter what obstacles are faced. These are taken from, I got this online, just some teaching that I found online regarding this, because I was researching about the 3 treasures, who got the 3 treasures. I knew Korah got one. I'd forgotten that it were Antoninus, and I knew that there was one hidden for the righteous. And in my searching, I came across this, which I thought was very, very interesting. It's from Pardes Yosef, so the orchard of Yosef, that means. And this can be found on Torah.org. Okay, first treasure. According to this that was written, a destined leader will become a leader no matter what obstacles are faced. Korah found this treasure. Okay, so he found this treasure and he tried to oppose the leadership of Moshe, and he found out to his detriment that it wasn't possible for him to do it. Okay, so that was a treasure. It turned back on him, and that's why he lost all his wealth. He lost this treasure. It got swallowed into the mouth of the hole, because he presumed that he was the leader, and it was Moshe that was the leader that couldn't be defeated. And because he used this treasure against the one who was destined not to be defeated, then he lost this treasure, obviously. So there's a twist in that. There's some wisdom in there somewhere. Second treasure was anti-Semitism is not about acting Jewish. So we've got this concept. Antoninus, Roman, found this, great respect and friend with Rabbi Yehuda Nissi. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Nissi he never abandoned his Jewishness. Obviously, he kept it very, very diligently. He's a very, very great teacher and everything like that. He openly taught Judaism. He didn't hide it. He didn't deny his Jewishness or anything like that. And basically the argument is anti-Semitism doesn't come as a result of people being Jewish, it comes as it's not to do with a response to people being Jewish and living their lives as Jews. Anti-Semitism, the hatred of anti-Semitism, is something completely and totally different. Antoninus was Roman and should have, by all accounts and purposes, hated Rabbi Ḥanina, but he didn't. He had great respect and love for him, and this was a man that openly and fervently kept his Jewishness. So this treasure is understanding that anti-Semitism is not rooted in Jews keeping Jewishness or Bnei Yisrael being Bnei Yisrael. Because more and more of us are coming back to the Torah now. Obviously we've got some catching up to do to our Jewish brothers and sisters, but we are coming back, and we came from a long way behind. By the way, we've been greatly handicapped. We've been lost to a greater depth than the Jewish people have ever been lost. We've been exiled to a greater depth than the Jews have ever been exiled. We are on our way back, and we are coming back loaded up with treasure. This is the truth. This is the truth. The effort it takes for us to do Torah and mitzvah is far, far greater than what a natural-born Jew that's been raised and brought. There's no comparison. We are handicapped in every possible way, and this will all be taken account of at the end. We have come from such a long way behind. So obviously we can't expect to be at the level of our Jewish brothers and sisters who've never been exiled to the depth that we've been. We weren't born with the silver spoon in our mouth. We have had to rummage in the dirt for the very little that we've got. And it's been a very hard journey. This has been very hard for Yosef to return, with any manner of dignity. So, what am I going at with that? Oh yeah, we're just comparing. We have not got to be hide or be ashamed of our Jewishness, and people would have us, our Torah observance, I should say. We shouldn't be ashamed of the fact that we keep Shabbat. We shouldn't be ashamed of the fact that we keep kosher. We shouldn't have to answer to people who hate us for it, call us Judaizers and all sorts of rubbish that you get thrown at you. You get the mud flung at you when you try to return to your roots. Torah and mitzvah, there's a lot of mud flinging done. We've not to be ashamed of that. We've got to recognise that hatred is nothing to do with the fact that we are keeping Torah and mitzvah. This is a treasure that we learn from Antoninus, who was an Edomite, a Roman. Okay, so he had every right to hate, like I've said, but he didn't. He had a great amount of respect and dignity towards Rabbi Ḥanina. So we can learn. This is a treasure that we need for now. We need to be we need to learn from the treasure of Antoninus. If anything that we take from within Christianity or within the Greco-Roman mindset, take what Antoninus has got to teach us. Take this treasure, because we have been a part of that whole Greco-Roman mindset and worldview, and we need to take this treasure from there. We need to learn from Antoninus that we do not need to hate, or we do not need to hide our love of Torah and our love of mitzvah. We need to be very open about it. We need to stand proud and loud. If you're not, I don't know whether that's the right way to put it, but we don't need to apologise. We don't need to feel guilty or ashamed because we're not 100% there yet. Think of the place where we've been. It's like if you were heavily handicapped person and that person, got themselves up Mount Everest. An able-bodied person cannot compete with the level of achievement that somebody who's been severely handicapped to accomplish the same feat has accomplished. So we've got to be so proud of ourselves. Even the fact that we're daring to hobble up that mountain is a great merit to us. So stand proud, understand that any progress that you make is great. Beyond measure, we were given nothing. We've had to dig this light out of the dirt of our lives, from the very depths. Our light has been hidden in the absolute depths of exile, Edomite exile, Amalekite exile. We have had to forage in those dark places and retrieve our parts of our own soul They were very, very deeply buried. So we've nothing to be ashamed of. You know, we've nothing to be ashamed of. And this treasure, I know it's been worded as anti-Semitism, okay, but we might not experience anti-Semitism, but certainly the returning of the house of Yosef experienced confrontation and hatred. And you know, a lot of resistance. Even that can come from within. There's a part of us that resists going towards our Jewish brothers and learning from them, humbly learning from them, because we know we've a long way to go, and it's difficult to we've a long way to go before we attain the sorts of level of Torah observant that our Jewish brothers and sisters have attained. But I mean, compared, where were you head? If we were to weigh up ourselves in the balance, you know, if you think about it, somebody was born, you've had it handed to you on a plate, you've been born into an environment, your wonderful, loving parents have raised you up as good Jews. What have we had? The kick, the cuff, the hate, coming from total oblivion. You know, there's no comparison, so we've got to be real. This is a treasure. We've got to understand this treasure. And when we're armed with this treasure, we can face our Jewish brothers and sisters with great dignity and respect, because we don't need to feel insignificant. We don't need to feel inadequate. We can stand tall, because this place from where we came, it's an utter and absolute miracle to the glory of the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh that we are able to stand and even attempt this journey that we're on. Attempt any form of return back to Torah and our inheritance is a miracle beyond comparison. And you know, when our Jewish brothers and sisters' eyes are open to understand and comprehend this journey that we've been on, the respect and dignity for us will grow. You know, very much. They'll love what Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh has done in our lives, just as much as we love what Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh has done in theirs. Okay, so this is a treasure. Take the treasure. It belongs to us. It belongs to us. Last treasure then. That Yosef showed us is that we think there is absolutely no solution to the problem of hatred between brothers. This is just so wonderful. It's like there's almost a sequence involved in this. When we unlock and decode this whole story of Korah, we'll see there's an actual very fundamental, important, there's a very important sequence to these. One has to precede the other. You know, the first treasure precedes the second treasure precedes the final treasure. Okay, so this next piece in the sequence is to do with sinas achim, hatred between brothers. Let's go on and read it, because it sounds important, doesn't it? This is what we've got. We need this treasure. We need this treasure now. And that Yosef showed us is that we think there is absolutely no solution to the problem of hatred between brothers. We have almost become resolved to the idea that intercommunal jealousies, rivalries and hatred is with us, and will always be with us. The story of Yosef proved that despite the tension and the bitter events that transpired between them, it was possible to put those differences behind themselves and reach a level of brotherly love. Ha'avat achim. Okay? We look at the controversies and tensions that exist within the Jewish people today. So this is all about Jewish people, but we know so the Jewish people just see Bnei Israel as themselves, and we know there's a whole other story waiting to be revealed called the House of Yosef. So this is the greater Israel, if you like. This treasure of Yosef, the Gemara admits, is still hidden away. It has not yet been rediscovered. We know that. We live in that. But we're on our way there, aren't we? When we get that second treasure, when we connect to that second treasure, what Antoninus has brought into this world to teach us, this light, this treasure, and we're able to understand the importance of that treasure and be encouraged by it. Well, first of all, we've got to learn from Korah. You know, we've got to learn that treasure. We've got to, this whole teaching, we were going to learn a lot about that. We've got to first reach that level and recognise the importance of submitting to the godly leaders. to the leaders of Yod Heh Vav Heh, nothing else, not to and put ourselves at the centre of the universe. There has got to be some submission to the authority of the name Yod Heh Vav Heh, and who he chooses to be a leader, and not put there instead the figments of our imagination that usually involve putting ourselves at the centre of the universe and being the most important thing in the entire universe from our own limited perspective. Right, so we've got to deal with that. Then we get the second treasure, and then the third treasure's to come, isn't it? And this is what we wanting. We're wanting to grow to that place where that third treasure is revealed, that brotherly love. But I hope you can appreciate, from my perspective anyway, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking sequence, because I've studied now, and I feel like I'm understanding this treasure of Korah and where that can ultimately lead, i.e. it gets swallowed whole. Antoninus, I can certainly relate to that. I can certainly relate to aspects of that, and I've got this great desire to find that final treasure. I've got a great desire for that to be revealed, and I hope that people watching have got that same desire. So let's go back. We're not going to have time to go over the gematria that deals with Korah and as a look in the future from the point of view what I could see regards Shmuel Hanavi, Samuel the prophet, but I've done the analysis. It's absolutely glorious. That's all I can say. The whole lot is glorious. From start to finish, it's glorious. So we will go through that. First of all, however, we're going to go look at the dreidel. Okay, so this screen that we've got up in front of us here is Nes Gadol Hayasham, a great miracle happened there. So this is what is written on a dreidel outside of Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, so in the diaspora. Okay, the gematria is 513, that's the regular, 108 for the ordinal, together they come to 621, which is 3 times light. Or is 207, so 3 times 207. The initial letters, and this is well known, this is not unique to me. Obviously, I did the regular and ordinal numbers. That's what I worked out. But this is a very well-known commentary that the letters, the initial letters that are what are written on the dreidel themselves, the Nun, Gimel, He, and Shin, they equal Mashiach 358. Okay, if we add 513 to 358, we get 871. Now, these two figures added together were done by the Vilna Gaon, okay, in his book Kol HaTorah. That's where I got them from, okay. And he pointed out that this 871 is exactly the same as to conceal a matter from Proverbs 25:2. Haster Devar. Okay, so obviously this is indicating that the dreidel is concealing a matter. Which matter is in the book Kol HaTorah? It's concealing a concept regarding Mashiach ben Yosef. The whole book Kol HaTorah is about Mashiach ben Yosef. The ordinal of to conceal a matter comes to 88, which is Yeshua ordinal 53 plus Yonah ordinal 35. So we add those two up. This is not written, obviously, in Kol HaTorah. The number 871 I got from Kol HaTorah. The ordinal numbers, however, 871 plus the 88 comes to 959. Okay, so we know that this is all related to the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef. We know that through Vilna Gaon. It comes to 959. 959 is the regular and the ordinal of Yeshu spelt out. 959. You'll probably notice that the nun is missing a vav. So there's two nuns there, both of them missing a vav. Normally the nun spelt out would be nun vav nun. In this case it's not, because just like the lights of the Oroth in the Torah were missing a vav, so too the nun. The Mashiach ben Yosef is in a state of perpetual poverty that's akin to death. In order for him to survive, he's got to be in a state of complete poverty. So I did all the main characters. I did like Amalek, Yeshua. I don't think Asaf's got a nun in it, no, but Yonah has. I did them all, and they had with the missing vavs, and then I've obviously done ones without. So just wanted to point that out, but very interested in this very diminished state where his light is hidden and concealed, and just as the Me'oroth, the luminaries that are written defectively in the Torah, missing two vavs from the word the luminaries regarding the sun and the moon, so is Mashiach ben Yosef at this time. His light is very much concealed. It's a very concealed matter. We've got to understand, to the degree that it's been concealed, will take a great and extraordinary effort to reveal that. Okay, so we've got to really work very hard. That also then 754 regular plus 205 ordinary comes to 959. Okay, so that's the dreidel outside of Israel. Let's go and have a look at the dreidel within Israel, and then we'll do some numbers of them both together. So Nesgadol Hayapo, and this is the concept of being there and here at the same time. Okay, this is what, when it was, bringing the future into the now, to help elevate us up. We need that power of rectification now to drag us out of this exile. We're in a very low state, just as Mashiach ben Yosef is in a very low state, suffering with us. We need to draw the here into the there, the future, our rectified self into this state of descent, what we're in now, bringing in the perspective of Yod He Vav He into our reality, looking at our reality through the perspective of the name Yod He Vav He, bringing the strength of that first letter He down into the final letter He. And things like that. So anyway, let's go and have a look at this. Nesgadol Hayapo. Then a great miracle happened there. A great miracle happened here. This is the dreidel that's played when you're in Eretz Yisrael. I've got both of them. One because I've bought dreidels when I've visited Eretz Yisrael. Right. The regular of that is 258. The ordinary is 96. Together they come to 354. The Nesgadol Hayapo, which are the initial letters. These are the letters that are on the dreidel. There's 4 letters on the dreidel. The Nun, Gimel, He, Pe comes to 138 regularly, 39 orderly. That 138 is 2 names of the Mashiach. One, it's Menachem, which is one of the names of the Mashiach, as quoted in Talmud, Sanhedrin 98. And it's also the name of Tzemech, as in the branch. And this is that aspect of Mashiach that's perpetually growing and flourishing. This is the level that we need to all attain in our lives, where we're really growing. Just another ring on the trunk of the tree each year, and, hopefully planted by streams of fresh water, Torah, roots go down deep and things like that. So that's the concept of perpetual growth. Tzemech, one of the names of Mashiach. Okay, 39 is Moshe ordinally, comes to 177 together. 177, by the way, is Gan Eden. Pretty sure of it. Let me just work that one out. Yeah, it does. It's Gan Eden. I know I've come across it before. There's other things that 177 is very much related to, but this is the concept of the first letter He. It's at the level of Gan Eden. That's what we're trying to attain. We're trying to return back to that level of consciousness, divine consciousness, where we're only aware of the name Yod He, Vav He, nothing else. It's also the level of throne. It's also the level of joy, in our service and things like that. So all these wonderful things, but we wanted to draw that here. Wherever we are now, we wanted to unite with this level. We wanting to draw this level down into our reality, here and now. Okay, then, so together, 258. Right, all right. So this next line, the 258 plus the 138, which equals 396. Okay, this is exactly the same formula as what Vilna Gaon used when he decoded the dreidel, Nesgadal Hayasham. That was the part that was included in the book called Hatar. Okay, so he took the numbers from the dreidel outside of Eretz Yisrael. And I've just applied the same formula as what Vilna Gaon did when he took the regular and added the initial letters, the regular of the initial letters on as well. So I've just done exactly the same, and Vilna Gaon obviously got to conceal a matter. In this instance, when we do the dreidel that is played within Eretz Yisrael, we get this wonderful number, 396. Okay, both are significant numbers, but this is, it just reveals, and it links back to Korah. This is why it's so utterly and absolutely incredible. So let's have a look then. So we've got B'Shem Adonai Ki Amilam, which is in the name of Yod He Vav He, I cut them down. Now, I did a whole set of teachings on this Psalm, Tehillim 118, and I was specifically looking at this phrase, in the name of Yod He Vav He, I cut them down. Very, very good teaching. I would suggest you go and have a look at it. So that, within Psalm 118, that exact same phrase is repeated 3 times. Okay, it's got an ordinal of 132 as the phrase. So 132 times 3 is 396. Okay, so this is very significant because, you know, there's also written in that verse, blessed is he who comes in the name of Yod He Vav He, which is really the role of the Mashiach, Baruch haba b'Shem Adonai. And so there's very much a link there. First of all, we've got to cut down what needs cutting down by the power of the name Yod He Vav He, everything that stands in a way of the revelation of the Mashiach. But there's definitely, it's a very messianic psalm, it's 118, and it's part of the Hallel service. So every festival, the Hallel service includes the Psalms 113 to 118. They're absolutely glorious. But like I say, I analysed this. So in the name of Yod He Vav He, I cut them down. And this is very much a messianic psalm, Psalm 118. So that comes to 396. However, if we just look down, Ha'aretz eth pi-ha. So we've got this direct and incredible link to Korah, because this is the way that the mouth of the earth is written in the Torah. And this is talking about the mouth of the earth that swallowed Korah. Okay, so Ha'aretz eth pi-ha comes to 792. And 792 is 2 times 396. And it's also 4 times 198. Okay, so what equals 198? 198 is Mashiach ben Yosef, 116, plus Mashiach ben Dawid, 82. If you add those up together, you get to 198. So that's the ordinal of Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben Dawid, but it's the ordinal of Mashiach ben Dawid without the additional Yod. Okay, so that comes to 198. The regular of that is 990. If we add those together, it comes to 1,188, which is 3 times 396. Okay, so 990 is 5 times 198. And so there's a massive relationship between these two numbers. The regular is a multiple of the ordinal for Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben Dawid. And that's why, you know, there's a connection with the 198 and also the 396. It's just basic, simple maths, that's all. But you can see that the 990 is also a multiple of 198. 5 times 198 is 990. So you add those two together and you're going to get a multiple of 396. So it's all glorious perfection, in my opinion. And it's all related to, it's all connecting us back. There must be this massive revelation of Mashiach connected to the concept of the dreidel, which we know that there is, whichever dreidel we're looking at. Whichever dreidel we're looking at. When we are looking in here, it's linking us back to Korah in order to, the concept of Nesgadol Hayapo, the one which is spun in the land of Eretz Israel, is linking us to Korah. It's linking us to Korah. Okay, so there's something in this story that we need to attain in order to get to this place where we are here. Okay, and all the other wonderful connections like to Gan Eden and things like that. And then, but we need to draw these two realities together as one. Okay, because obviously, the Nesgadol Hayasham is also very, very much a powerful revelation of Mashiach. So those two concepts of Mashiach needs drawing together as one, you know, and these teachings, hopefully that's what we're going to attain. But we're wanting the there and the here to be united. You know, for heaven and earth to be united, for that where we've attained perfection to be with us now, you know, for the Mashiach that is concealed to be revealed, in order to reveal the Mashiach ben Yosef, the Mashiach ben David that we long for, you know, the fully rectified, Mashiach fully rectified, and at final redemption. Right, so let's go and have a look at this number 396. Okay, sorry, not 396. Let's go and have a look at some of these numbers with the dreidel. Right, very familiar verse that I go through a lot from Genesis 41:1. Why does it come up all the time? Because it's such a critical verse. It comes up all the time. The numbers of it come up all the time. So it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh was dreaming, and behold, he was standing by the Nile. The 2 years that Yosef was in prison was due to a lack of faith, where he'd petitioned Pharaoh. He'd put some faith in the cupbearer, getting Pharaoh to favour him in his situation in prison. It cost him 2 extra full years in prison. He uttered 2 words, and it cost a year for each word. Mashiach ben Yosef is suffering with us in order for us to rectify our emunah v'bitachon. Our emunah in the name Yod He Vav He is our faith in the name Yod He Vav He. Okay, so those 2 years are now turned into 2 millennium. The big 2 years are the 2 millennium. Yeshua has been suffering with us in exile for 1,988 years. Okay, so we've got a maximum of 12. It says at the end of 2 full years, so we can expect that 2,000 years will run its course. There is a chance that it's 3 years less, based on Sir Isaac Newton's astronomical calculations of when Yeshua must have died, given the 4 accounts in the Gospels and 1 account in Acts. Okay, it's most likely AD 33. It could, however, be AD 30. Let's hope it is, because it would be 2,000 years fulfilled 3 years sooner, and that 3 years might prove to be extremely necessary. Okay, so, and plus we can hasten. Once it gets to the end, and we're right at the end now, we can hasten it. So it's not necessarily going to take 9 years, but we are getting towards the 2,000 years full. Okay. Right, point 1 then. And behold, he was standing by the Nile, comes to 496 and 127 ordinarily. 127 is one of the spellings out of Yeshua, by the way. In fact, it's the highest spelling out Yeshua, for the first spelling of Yeshua filled out ordinarily. Okay, so together they come to 623. Okay, now we start to get back to the dreidel. Point 2, Nesgadol Hayapo, they're the initial letters for Nesgadol Hayapo, the dreidel within Eretz Israel, 138 regular, 39 ordinarily. Add them together to come to 177. We've already gone through those numbers. I've put Menachem, Comforter, Tzemech, Branch, both names are given to Mashiach. We've already covered that. Nesgadol Hayasham, we've covered those numbers. Oh, just to point out, they have got an ordinal of they've got an ordinal of 43. Where is Mashiach exiled to? Because this is related to, obviously, the diaspora, exile. Edom, Esav is synonymous with Edom, in the nations. So this comes to 401. 401 also, it is connected to the concept of Mashiach, because the word Aleph Tav, to mean the, or a definitive article, definite article, it comes to 401. And if you add the ordinal to that, which is 23, that comes to 424. So that is Mashiach ben David. Okay, so there's even a hint there at the 401 being the Aleph and the Tav. Yeshua called himself, according to the Greek Gospels, the Alpha and Omega, but we know in Hebrew that would be the Aleph and the Tav. Okay, so the Aleph and Tav really is code name for Mashiach, because I've just given you the numbers. 401 regular plus 23 ordinal is 424. Mashiach ben David, regular. Okay, and that's spelt without the additional yod. Right, point 5, this is where it gets interesting. This is when it links back to the dreidels, okay, and this is why it links up to this whole concept of Yosef, and then we will see how it also links to Mashiach ben David. It's not just, these numbers are not just Mashiach ben Yosef. We can see a clear indication of Mashiach ben Yosef from there. And behold, we're standing by the Nile. This is talking about Pharaoh. Okay, and we can see that through that 127, which is Yeshua, the ordinal of Yeshua filled out, that this is a connection to the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef. But we're going to see that this is also very much heavily related to the concept of Mashiach ben David. We have to unite the concepts of the two Mashiachs together as one. So 358, which is the initial letters of Neskadol Hayasham, and 138, which is Neskadol Hayapo, come to 496. Okay. The ordinals, 39 plus 43, comes to 82. 82 is the ordinal of Mashiach ben David, spelt without the additional yod. So it's unbelievably wonderful gematria in the dreidel, and as we can see, very much linked to the concept of Korah. We saw that on the Neskadol Hayapo. We're gonna see an even bigger connection when we get to the end of this slide. Right. So we've got, if we add up those two numbers, the 871, which was the number that Vilna Gaon gave us, that was the same gematria as to concealer matter. So it was the regular of Neskadol Hayasham plus the initial letters, 358, and then we did exactly the same with Neskadol Hayapo, the regular plus the initial letters came to 396. So 0.6, if we add the 871 plus the 396 together, we get 1267, which is 7 times 181. Let's go and have a look at this then, because 0.7 is, and the righteous shall be a girdle of his loins, and faith the girdle. That particular verse I analysed in full because this was one of the appellations. I'm pretty sure I got it from Kol Hatar. But anyway, that particular part of that verse comes to 1267. Okay, it has got an ordinal of 250. Together they come to 1517. However, the 1267 is 7 times 181. Okay, so we've got this link. This is taken from Isaiah 11:5, by the way, if you wanted to read the entire verse. It's all wonderful. That Isaiah 11 is a wonderful chapter. Okay, so 7 times 181. If we go down to 0.8, this is written in Psalm 72. Okay, Im Shemesh Welifne Yireach, with the sun and before the moon, comes to 181 ordinally. The initial letters that I've highlighted in green spell Yeshua. Okay, not thoroughly in order, but they are the Yod, Shin, Vav, Ayin, Yeshua. The end letters spell in exactly the correct order Mashiach. So you've got the Mem Shin Yud Chet. So this is, I think it's the only place in the entire Tanakh where Mashiach is spelt in order at the end of the words like this. Okay? And as we can see very clearly, it's telling us exactly who that Mashiach is. And this is another highly messianic psalm, Psalm 72. The entire of it's all code for Mashiach. But this is a very clear code that we've got. And it's the dreidel that's pointing us to this. Both dreidels united together as one point exactly here. Okay, and we know that Isaiah 11 is to do with the Mashiach as well. That's pointing us clearly to Mashiach. But you couldn't have pinpointed from the entire psalm something as more significant than this in regards a revelation of who Mashiach is. Okay, point 9 then. For there is yet a vision. This is taken from Daniel. That comes to 181. It's talking about the vision at the end of days. Okay, so we can link that back to what we've just gone through and right back to the unity of the dreidels and right back to what we're studying now, this whole concept of Korah, what we've been going on about. Right, let's have a look. Point. All right, the ordinal of that 82, Mashiach ben David. Okay, together they come to 263. I think I'll put that in red as well. Okay, so 82 Mashiach ben David ordinally. Right, this is where it gets really wonderful. Where do we get these two numbers from? The 621. Let me go and have a look. The 621. All right, so the 621 is the regular and ordinal of Nesgadol Hayasham. And then we should have the regular and ordinal 354, of Nesgadol Hayapo, 258 plus 96. I believe that's the number, isn't it? Yeah, so 621 plus 354 comes to 1005. Okay, which is 5 times 201. And just to point that out, actually, because it's quite important, and I've missed it, I've only just seen it now. Just wait a minute, let me just double check. Yeah, it's 5 times 201. 201 is, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. The ordinal of that verse is 201. Okay, so I haven't put that there because I've only just seen that number. But it is 5 times 201. 201 comes up all the time, and we know that that's the concept of the light that Yod He Vav is hidden in darkness. What darkness? Is hidden in the evil inclination, because the first two words, and God said, "Let there be light." In the regular comes to Yetzirah, evil inclination, and then God said, let there be light, and there was light, comes to 470, which is Amalek filled out. So we know that light is hidden, and we know that this is somehow a rectification, because 5 times anything is like the letter 5, the teshuv He, the return of the letter He, and He, the whole concept of this letter He is associated with teshuva, and it's also the 5th letter of the alphabet. So 5 times something is a rectification of it. So the unity of these dreidels is a rectification for that light. It's going to help us reveal the light that is hidden within the evil inclination, which is synonymous with the nations, which is synonymous with our own evil inclination, which is synonymous with our body. Okay, which is synonymous with earth, this physical reality. Okay, and then obviously the light that's hidden in that is our soul within our own body, Israel within the nations, Yaakov and Esau. It's that kind of connection, spirituality and physicality. So we want to rectify that out with spirituality, so our soul, so Yaakov, so that Israel dominates over, rather than at this current state of exile where physicality dominates over spirituality, the nations dominate over Israel. This is the wrong order. It's got to be in a godly order. Israel has to dominate over the body, the soul has to, or the nations, the soul has to dominate over the body. Okay, so obviously we can see a unity between these two concepts of the dreidel is pinpointing exactly a place that is that light revealed, and the light that is hidden at this time rectified. So what does that mean when we're talking about rectified? We're talking about the light dominating over the darkness, transforming it, dominating over it. Okay, so we need to know this, and we can see this clearly from point 11. Then the Lord would speak to Moshe face to face. Okay, so this is a concept we're wanting to attain, a face-to-face relationship with the name Yod-Heh-Vav. It's our ultimate goal. That also comes to 1005, which, like I say, is a 201. And God said, let there be light, and there was light, rectified. Okay, so that comes to 231. Ordinally, together they come to 1,236. 1,236 is 2 times 618. By the way, they're extremely significant numbers in and of themselves, and I have previously analysed them, but, you know, I've just got to really stick to what we're going through now. This point 12 is unbelievable. 513 regular, Nesgadol Hayasham, plus 258, Nesgadol Hayapo, comes to 771. This is how it links back to Korah, because I won't have time to go over all this because I have to go through this number, the pink number on there, 496. I'm going to come back and go through the pink number, but I just want to link this in first to Korah, so you'll see how we have to look to the story of Korah for inspiration of all these magnificent themes that's before us now. Is revealed. It's throwing us back to Korah every time. Let's go look at where the 731 comes up in terms of Korah. I know it does somewhere because I've come across it. I'm getting a bit, I'm thinking, I hope I'm not going too far with this. Right, let me find it. Okay, so here we are. I mean, we can't get more significant than this. This is taken from Numbers 16:1. Right, let's just quickly flick through this and then go back and look at the 496. Korah, son, this is point 1. You can have a read through the verse, but we're really focusing on the genealogy of Korah that is listed in the Torah. Korah, the son of Isar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, comes to 1,320. That number we've just had a connection to that number, haven't we? Because we've just come across 132. Let me just quickly flick back and see where we got that number from. Yeah, that was in the name of Yod-Heh-Vav here. I cut them down. So 132 times 3 came to 396, which was the regular and the initial letters of Nesgadol Hayapo. Okay, so just so that we know everything's linked together, and Korah is constantly throwing us back to these wonderful revelations. Right, let's go back to Korah now then. So we've got Korah, the son of Azar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, 1,320, 10 times 132, what I've just mentioned, plus 222 ordinally, which is 2 times Aleph. And there's other numbers that are very much connected to 222, but it's 2 times Aleph, and Hashem hides himself in the letter Aleph. So we've got a big indication that Hashem is hidden in the whole concept of Korah. Okay, together they come to 1,542. 1,542 is 2 times 771. So 2 times the regular and ordinal for both dreidels. If we had the regular and ordinal for Nesgadol Hayasham, Nesgadol Hayapo, a great miracle happened there, a great miracle happened here. We add them all together, it comes to 771. So we see that that is directly, it couldn't be more perfectly connected to the whole concept of Korah. We just have to find out why. We just have to make that connection. Why would this be so? Why would these numbers be so perfectly coordinated to direct us towards looking at Korah for answers about revealing who the Mashiach is? Okay, so 771 is 3 times 257. 771, by the way, plus a kollel is 772, which is 2 times 386, 2 times Yeshua. And 772 is also Hu Tzaharath. And we know the Mashiach is called a leper. So it is leprosy comes to 2 times Yeshua. This is I've gone through the teachings about leprosy. This is a clear indication of who exactly the Mashiach is, and it comes up all the time. I mean, it's staring us in the face. Okay, point 3 then. Ark of the Testimony comes to 736 both together, but the testimony, Ha'edath, I think that's how you spell it. I've not got the actual vowel pointings, so I find it difficult to read without vowel pointings. But that comes to 257, so obviously connected to 771. And also, and this is it's quite a connection, because after Korah was swallowed, after the earth swallowed up Korah, they took a staff from each of the tribes to see which one would bud and prove Aaron's validity and legitimacy for the priesthood. And it was Aaron's that budded, and that was put into the Ark of the Testimony. So there is a connection there as well. Okay, 736 is a highly significant number associated with redemption. Vilna Gaon pointed it out, Baal Shem Tov pointed it out, and most famously Arizal. That's a definite absolute sign of redemption, the 736. I've gone on it in previous teachings. I think it's possibly part of the title will include 736 and something to do with keys of redemption, I think. Point 4, Yosef spelt out to the second filling comes to 1,301, 257. They together come to 1,558. I am peace. Ani Shalom comes to 437 plus 77, 514. So 514 is 2 times 257. Okay, so it's related through the multiples of 257 to 771. Okay, and obviously up to the lineage of Korah. This is what King David said, isn't it? Ani Shalom, I am for peace. He says this in Tehillim, Ani Shalom. Right, point 6. Okay, so we've got a connection to this 514 to the whole concept of repair of the world in the Malkuth of Shaddai. If we add 1,000 to that one at 514, which is 2 times 257, we get repair of the world in the Malkuth of Shaddai, which comes to 227. That number we do come back to, that 227, we come back to it again in a much more significant way, but it is connected. This is connected. It's connected here, but it will come back again, this number, when we're looking at it from a slightly different angle, because we pick up on the number 227, and I do know that. So 1,514 is obviously the Mashiach plus Ani Shalom, and then linked back up to this number 771, and that is linked to, if you add the 227 and the 1,514, you get 1,741. The repair of the world in the Malkuth of Shaddai is an appellation from Mashiach ben Yosef in the book Kol HaTorah. This is from the Elenu prayer, but the Kol HaTorah lists this as one of the appellations of Mashiach ben Dawid. He is repairing the world, and he's very much associated with the name El Shaddai. The 999 footsteps of Mashiach ben Yosef is El Shaddai spelt out in full. That comes to 999. That's why he's connected to the whole concept of Shaddai. Okay, so 1,741, I've put various things there. Point 8, Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, and Mashiach ben Ephraim, add them together, come to 1,741. We know that number is associated with Mashiach. Okay, and then we've got this incredible verse from Genesis 33:14. It's an incredible verse. We're in the process of this now. Okay, it's this when Yaakov met Esav and he said, now let my master go ahead before his servant now will move at my own slow pace, according to the pace of the work that is before me, and according to the pace of the children, till I come to my master to Seir. This has never yet occurred. This is unity between body and soul. This is unity between Yaakov and Esav. This is unity between Israel and the nations. Where Israel is dominating over the nations, by the way, it didn't happen, but the sages say it came out of the word of the Tzaddik Yaakov. It is yet to be fulfilled. It will be fulfilled in the time of Mashiach. Okay, we're getting very close to that time where Yaakov will go meet Esav in his own territory. And there will be peace. Where will the peace come from? The peace will come from Yaakov being empowered with the truth. Truth about what? The truth about Mashiach ben Yosef, Od Yosef Chai. This is the truth that empowers Yaakov to meet Esav in his own territory. Okay, and that will bring peace between Esav. That will bring peace between Yaakov and Esav. That will cause Yaakov to dominate over Esav when he goes empowered with the truth that Yosef is alive. And we're not talking about Mashiach ben Yosef that is trapped in it. That is the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef in exile within Christianity. We're talking about the truth. We're talking about Yaakov being empowered by the truth. And he can go meet Esav in his territory. Okay, we're not talking about some flimsy Christmas, Easter concept, pig-eating concept of Mashiach ben Yosef. This is exile. There's no truth. Well, there is truth in it, actually. The truth needs to be, redeemed from that. There is truth in there. The truth about what Yod He Vav He has actually been doing. We've dressed it up however we wanted through our vivid imagination. That is a consequence of being in exile, in Edomite Greco-Roman exile. But there is truth in that. Yod He Vav He. What Yod He Vav He has been doing and accomplishing in all that exile is truth. Yaakov, empowered with the truth, can meet Yosef in his own territory. So it's all to come, and it's all glorious, and it's all wonderful. Again, why is Korah pointing us towards this? Because that is 2 times his name. The ordinal of this entire verse is 2 times his entire genealogy. So we've got to start asking these questions. Why is this so significant? What is it really telling us? It's all glorious. We've got to keep making all these connections. It's all going back to that first slide that I put up. This unity between there and here, between rectified state, future us, and where we're at now. We need to unite. From our perspective and Yod He Vav He's perspective, from Holam Haba, Holam Hazeh, it's this unity that's got to be accomplished, and this whole, we can glean this from the teachings of Korah, because we can see exactly the dynamics, that relationship, what caused what, and decode that whole situation. We're going to get to a glorious truth that we need for now. We need this now. Okay, so let's have a look at this whole 496. We got the 496 from the initial letters of Nesgadol Hayasham and the initial letters of Nesgadol Hayapo. Right, probably won't have time to go through absolutely everything on there, or I might just do it quickly. This number comes up all the time. It's the entire revelation of Melech David, and there's so many points to look at. Let's just fire through some. The moon is called Hamaora Katana Laila. Come across this number all the time, 496 plus 136. Ordinarily, 136 is the throne of David. That comes to 632. 632 is 2 times 316. So we've got the whole concept of the throne of David being associated with the moon, which is Melech David. Melech David will sit on the throne of David. What is the throne of David according to Torah? Mashiach ben Yosef. So who is the throne of David? Yeshu, because 360 comes to Yeshu. The whole concept of Mashiach ben Yosef. What? In exile with us suffering. It's called Yeshu. It's a derogatory name, but it was by the will of Hashem that this happened. The will of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. Okay, so point 4. Only 4... All right, just wait a minute. Right, just took one off then. 496 is read with beautiful eyes. That's from 1 Samuel 16:12. That's about King David, who is likened to the moon. That comes to 172 ordinarily, 668. Them both together, which is 4 times 167. Yeshua, which is 386, plus Yeshua HaMashiach, ordinarily comes to 496. The 5 books of the Torah, Bereshith, Shemot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, and Davrim, comes to 2,480 regular, which is 5 times 496. So the average value of all 5 books of Torah is Melech Dawid. This 496, which is also connected to the dreidel, the Neskadol Hayasham, the initial letters, Neskadol Hayapo, initial letters, add up to 496. That points us back to Korah. Got to keep making this connection. Right, point 5 then. 2,480 is 10 times 248, which is Avraham. Chesed. And it says, in Avraham Chesed, the heavens and the earth were created. Right, I'm not going to go, I put C over, but I won't have time to go through that because I'm just having a look at the time now. The knife comes to 496. This is 64 ordinarily, 560, and both of them together. The knife is used to slaughter the ram. This is in the Akedah. So this word, the knife, is taken from the Akedah. And that is the knife that was used to slaughter the ram, Mashiach ben Yosef. Okay, it's all symbolic, by the way. The ram symbolises Mashiach ben Yosef, and that's according to Yalkut Shimoni. Okay, it's a Midrash, very important Midrash. 560 is 5 times 112, and 112 it equals until Shiloh comes. So until Shiloh comes, the ordinal of that, I think, the ordinal of that is 112. And the whole concept of Shiloh is the united concept of the Mashiach. All the 5 aspects of the Mashiach united in that one word, Shiloh. And this is very important that we've got to unite all the aspects of Mashiach together as one. 112 is also Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh Elohim. So this is a concept of spirituality and heaven, which is represented by the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, and physicality and earth, or body and soul. Earth represented by Elohim, physicality represented by Elohim. So this is unity of body and soul, heaven and earth. It's the same concept of what we've been going over. Okay, the ordinal books of the Torah comes to 284. 2,480 equals 2,764, which is 691 times 4. We're not going to go over that today. Point 8, 496 plus 284. So 284 is the total ordinal. 496 is the average of each book, the regular average of each book. The number that we're looking at now comes to 780. Okay, which is 5 times 156, 5 times Yosef. We're looking for a rectification of Yosef. Okay, so point 9 also, and he said, for there is a hand on the throne of the eternal. This is talking about Amalek. He's got his hand on the throne of the eternal, which is indicating that it is Yosef. Okay, why? We'll get to there in a minute. That comes to 496, which ties us into the concept of the dreidel united. The initial letters for both dreidels come to 496, plus Melech Dawid, King David. 154 ordinal for that, and 154 is Olam Abba, the world to come. This is what we want to attain. This is what we want to draw down into our reality now. This is the here of a rectified state within the land of Eretz Yisrael, the rectified land, not the land in exile, the rectified land, the true land of Eretz Yisrael. So 496 plus 154 for Olam Haba come to 650, which is 5 times 130 and 5 times the word ayin, I, or a filling out of the missing letter ayin from the name Yeshua. Like he is Yeshu in exile, but he's had his name erased. Okay, by the will of Yod He Vav, he's had his name erased. And that is also 10 times mezuzah. Mezuzah comes to 65, so 10 times 65 is 650. Mashiach is very deeply connected to the concept of mezuzah. He is the gate to the name Yod He Vav He. Okay, 650 is the squared ordinals of Yosef. So 100 plus 36 plus 225 plus 289 comes to 650. Yosef. Who's got, is this talking about Amalek? And he said, for there is hand on the throne of the eternal. This is talking about, he's got that, Amalek's got his hand on Yosef. It creates doubt regarding the concept of Yosef, Mashiach ben Yosef. You know, it creates doubt in this matter. It's very concealed matter. Just as Vilna Gaon pointed out, it's a very concealed matter. We need to work very hard to reveal this. This is the work that we've got to do. This is the work Yod He Vav is giving us. Get over your doubt. Get over all your doubt. Fight it. Don't accept it. Don't run from it. Face it down. Have you got, what's hidden behind this doubt? Get to the bottom of it. Because I'm going to tell you the truth is hidden there. That's what. You wrestle every doubt that you've got in regards Mashiach being your Yeshua. Like I had to do, because I was in doubt. I'd abandoned my faith in Yeshua. I was in doubt for a long time. It didn't matter what other people threw at me. There was still a lot of doubt left. There's still a lot of Amalek. I had to wrestle and fight and wrestle and fight and wrestle and fight for a long time. It didn't just yield. I didn't get to a place of confidence that he was the Mashiach. It didn't happen overnight. I had to battle with external forces, and we all have to do that. This is my answer to my doubt. I had a lot. I needed big answers. But I went and I stood before Yod He Vav and I said, look, this is. I have got this doubt. I have got this doubt. This is real. What do I do about this doubt? This doesn't make sense to me. How can he possibly be there? And then slowly but slowly I persisted. I did not run away from it. I did not accept an inadequate answer. I fought. I didn't accept mainstream answers from rabbis or from anybody else. I didn't accept what had been spoon-fed. I needed to know for myself. The questions were the doubt was in me. And I needed answers, and these are my answers. These are what came from heaven to answer my doubt. Because there was nobody questioning whether he was or not. In truth, I could get whatever garbage I wanted from within Christianity. I could get whatever garbage and lies I wanted from Erev Rav mentality within Judaism regarding Yeshua being the Mashiach. Whatever garbage you want, I could have been wading in that. I knew it was not the truth. I mean, not everybody within Judaism. The man who brought me to question my lack of faith in Yeshua was a Jewish man. It was a Jewish man. Everything I am indebted to the Jews. It was everything. Yod He Vav He, it brought me to life. He used a Jewish man to do it. Or a Jewish woman. Mainly the teachings of Jewish men, but it's all glorious. So glorious. We are indebted to the Jewish people. We are totally and utterly indebted. Because Yod He Vav He has used them to give us the truth. We want the truth. You can be pretty much sure the Jewish people will be involved in that. But like I say, I had my own questions and I needed to go. I didn't get everything. I didn't answer everything. I got enough to be able to go on a journey for myself, right? So we've all got our own questions, our own doubts, whether we're Jewish or non-Jewish. We can't just settle for what the people have told us. I needed to experience this as well, You know, Hashem is good. Hashem is perfect. Yod-Heh-Vav is perfect. Right, so let's finish this up then. Yeshua 386. Oh, I've already gone through that. I'm going to take that off. That's point 10. We've just got 9 points. Leave it at Yosef. And I think that is enough for today. I hope you are as excited as me to see these numbers, to see this perfection, to see the glory of Yod-Heh-Vav revealed. I don't, if you're listening now, Baruch Hashem, and if you're listening to in some time in the future, Baruch Hashem. Whenever you manage to gain access to this glorious revelation, it's by the will of Yod-Heh-Vav, who's intervened in your life to bring you this wonderful light. And we just have to rejoice. I rejoice. I know there's very little of me involved in this. It's all what Yod-Heh-Vav had intricately orchestrated. All I've done is add numbers up that exist. His numbers, he's from his Torah. All the words of the sages. Listen to what the words of the sages, and then just done a little bit. Stood on their shoulders and reached higher. But this was it's all Yod-Heh-Vav. Just tune in to his frequency and just enjoy this wonderful revelation. And with that, I will say Shalom. Shalom. Okay, quick video, because when my son visited, he says you've got to add a human dimension to your teachings. Give a face to the voice. So here's the face behind the voice. 3 things I'd really like to say. If you are inspired by these teachings, which I hope that you are, share them. Share them. Also subscribe to the channel and really enjoy them, because it's wonderful Torah and wonderful teachings that come from a wonderful place. And to me, it's all innovative and it's creative and it's intellectually stimulating, and it's I just pour my whole heart and soul into them. So I'm glad to pass them on. There's something I'm really, really glad to share with people. And that's about it. And by the way, you're very fortunate, because I actually put mascara on to do this video, which is, I haven't done that for a very long time. So I should have probably brushed my hair, but never mind. Okay then, so like I said, subscribe, share, shalom.